Ayesha, what kind of cases end up in court then?
Well, all sorts, Steph, all sorts of cases end up in court, from faulty goods, repairs gone wrong, a poor service, might be from the mechanic, it might be a builder, all sorts of cases. Or you might have provided someone with a service yourself and you've not got paid. So all types of cases end up in court. The common factor with all of them is you've tried to resolve it yourself, but you couldn't get anywhere. Now, people talk about a consumer court, and I know people think that there's a court that is specifically devoted to small claims only. There isn't. It's the small claims process is within the larger court system. In England and Wales, it's money claims up to 10,000 in value. In Scotland, it's 5,000, and in Northern Ireland, it's 3,000 in value.
So what should you do first then if you're thinking about taking a dispute you have to court?
Well, you've got to exhaust all avenues. Remember, the court is the last resort, and you've got to have tried everything else. Sit back and look at your case, and if you think you've got a strong case, take it forward. Be aware that the other party could cross-claim against you, and nobody wants that. In fact, nobody wants to go to court at all, do they? So think about all the other ways that you can try and resolve it. So communicate with the other side and say what your intentions are. Keep a record of what you've done. Take it to the Ombudsman. There might be a trade or professional body. The bottom line is you've got to exhaust all options before you take that next step of going to court.
So how do you start the process of a court case?
OK, even before you start the process of a court case, Steph, you've got to hold up that red flag and you've got to wave it and you've got to give a warning to whoever you're going to start the court process against. What you can do and you should do is send what's called a letter before claim, letter before action, it's also known as, to the other side. And what that does is it sets out exactly what's happened, what the problem is, what the issue is, why you think they're at fault and what you want them to do about it. And if you want to claim a specific amount of money, you've got to make it clear exactly what that is. Give them a period of time to respond. You can get help drafting that from various websites. Citizens Advice Bureau is great, and which have actually got a template letter of claim on there. Give them a period of time to respond, or if you're not happy with the response, you can then take the next step of starting court proceedings. Send the letter recorded delivery, and you can find an address for, if it's a company, at Companies House, so you're sending it to the registered office. Remember, at this stage, based on what their response is, have a think whether it's actually worth pursuing them. Is it worth actually suing them? Are they good for the money before you take that next step of rolling up your sleeves and going to court?
Yeah, so let's say we've done all that. How do you then get your case looked at?
Right, OK. So this is the stage where you are now actually starting court proceedings. You fill out some forms. You can do them online in England and Wales, or you can print them off and you can fill them in. Scotland, they actually encourage you to do the claims online. There's a court fee to pay when you do start your court process. It starts at £25. Can be waived or reduced depending on your income. Once you've started the court process, the other side does have a chance to actually defend. They can lodge what's called a defence. If they don't, you can ask a judge to enter the case in your favour. So even at that stage, quite early doors, you can get a result. If not, if they do lodge a defence, the judge will give you some directions, instructions effectively, of how to prepare the case for a final hearing. It might go all the way to a final hearing where you get a chance to give evidence, the other side gets a chance to give evidence, and the judge decides, or the judge could actually just decide it on paper.
Yeah, and you've just mentioned preparation. I guess that's pretty key. So how do you prepare for a court case? OK,
well, you can use a solicitor, but it's not always cost-effective to use a solicitor in these types of cases. Now, this is where you sit back and you know your own case. You know its strengths, you know its weaknesses, you know what the other side is going to say against you, and have a think about what the judge is also going to ask you. Gather all of your evidence. So say, for example, it's to do with a faulty worktop. Have a look at the contract that you had with the builder beforehand. Have a look at what the agreement was, what email exchange, what text messages, photographs of before and after, a copy of receipts or what you actually want done. Prepare all of your evidence. I often say it's like putting all the pieces of a jigsaw in front of a judge and saying, there you go, decide the case in my favour. So the more preparation you can do, the better. Have a timeline. Again, make the judge's job easy. Have a timeline of all the important dates that you can present to the judge. Try and keep, and I know this is always easy for me to say as a lawyer, try and keep your emotion out of it. Yeah. Judges like cool, calm, collected and practical individuals. So try and present your case in the best way practically for a judge. Remember, judges are consumers too, so hopefully he or she will know exactly where you're coming from.
So then, obviously, there's going to be one of two results. You either win or you lose. So
Okay.
what happens then?
All right, well, fingers crossed you're going to win, OK? So if you win, you will get the amount that the judge decides is awarded to you. Not necessarily what you've claimed, what the judge decides you are entitled to. And in addition to that, you can also get additional expenses and costs. But remember, you might lose as well. So always have that thought in the back of your head. Hopefully you won't, but just be prepared that you might lose. And if you do lose, you might have to pay the other side's costs and expenses. But look, we're in it to win it, aren't we? So if you prepare your case well and you feel really strongly about it, don't be afraid to take it forward. At least then, win or lose, you can sleep at night knowing you gave it your best shot.